is giving you an idea. This is how they implemented the classes. I am not telling you implement these classes to anyone. Okay?
Initializes with the gap-based values. Why reasons already we know. Local variables in C language.
Next.
Initialize with the gap-based values.
Well, another classification. What is that?
Initialize with any manual value.
Already shown arithmetic exception. And arithmetic two classes are shown here. What are the two? Divide by 0, overflow. Divide by 0, overflow. Okay, watch.
Providing initialization. Here, values
Divide by 0. Inheriting from
40, 50.
arithmetic exception. What is the message?
5 locations.
Attempted to divide by 0. If you try to attempt to divide by 0, this error will come. Same way, can you help me now? I want to write the overflow exception class code now. I wanted to write the overflow exception class code now. Come on, can you tell me? I want the overflow exception class. Come on. Public class overflow exception inheriting from
But I'm initializing only 2 values.
arithmetic exception.
Only 2 values I'm assigning. Sir, what about the remaining values?
Okay. So first you need to define a class inheriting from the appropriate class. See, when I inherit from arithmetic exception inherit from system exception inherit from exception. Ultimately exception is on the top. Don't forget that. Exception is on the top now. So if I create the instance of the overflow exception, it will go and call the constructor of arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception will go and call the constructor of system exception. System exception will go and call the constructor of exception. There you have the logic for abnormal termination. Program is abnormally terminated. Are you clear? That's what I'm telling you. You understood the basics. We are implementing them in our requirement now. Whatever you learned in the inheritance class, all these things we are implementing it here. Okay? Next. By default, in exception class is the message property. Displays the message error in the application. That's not descriptive. I wanted to make it descriptive. To make it descriptive, what to do? Override the property. Come on. Public override string message. Get return. And the error message, what should be displayed, should be coming there. Let's see what the error message there.
In our last session, inside the main method, I'm declaring one array. Already we discussed arrays can be
Value was either too large or too small for an int 32.
is a local declaration. Int arr of 5. I'm not initializing with any value.
Okay, na?
Sir, if you are not initializing,
Are you clear, everyone? This is how the classes are implemented in the libraries. And I'm again repeating you, I am not asking you to implement the classes. I'm only telling you, these are already implemented in the library. This is how the implementation has been done for you. Clear? Yes or not? Now what I said you, I create instance of overflow exception. What happens? It will call the constructor of arithmetic exception. That will call the constructor of system exception. That will call the constructor of exception. Abnormal termination. That's all. But you'll have a doubt now. What is the doubt? Sir, you are telling when we create the instance of this class, this will call this one, this will call this one, but where did you create? You did not create that anywhere now. Did you catch my point? What I'm telling you, when I create the instance of the overflow, that will call arithmetic exception constructor, that will call system exception constructor, that will call exception constructor. I'm telling you like this. But now the big question in the mind is, well, where did you create, sir? You did not create that instance anywhere. Are you guys clearer or not? Did I create the instance anywhere? I did not create the instance. But what I'm telling, if this instance is created, this instance is created. Who is going to create? You did not create that anywhere, but you're telling if instance is created, that will be the big confusion in our minds now. Okay? Let me clarify all your doubts.
How to find sum of all the array elements? How to find
See the question?
remaining some elements that again we are value, some value. Right? For example, first I'm declaring.
Who creates the instance now?
Sir, what is the use of
Every program executes inside of the .NET runtime. You already know that now? Every program runs under the monitoring of the runtime controlled by the CLR. Every program executes inside of the .NET runtime under the monitoring of CLR, because we have already learned that CLR is the execution engine of .NET runtime. Recollect, sir, guys, introduction classes I said you, I given the videos for all these particular things also to you. All the applications will run inside the .NET runtime, and runtime contains a CLR. And do you remember the picture of the CLR? CLR contains so many components in it: JIT compiler, garbage collector, lots of things the CLR contains in it.
I equals to 0. Whenever I value 0, I value 30. Next, whenever I value iterations.
Yeah, I explained about JIT compiler, remember? Conversion gradually during the program's execution, bytecode gets converted into IL code. In the finalizer classes, we learned about garbage collector. What about garbage collector? Yeah. Debug engine. You are debugging your code now. You are debugging your code now. Debug engine is responsible for the debugging F9, F10, F11, F12. For all the things, debug engine is responsible. Okay? And see, security engine. For security engine, this is the security of the application. Applications cannot directly contact the operating system, or operating system cannot contact the application. Security, .NET applications are secured. Okay? Next, type checker. This type checker is actually responsible for type checking here. If you pass a wrong data type value, the type checker comes into picture, checking you whether your values are correct or not. Thread support. Yesterday I asked you to watch multi-threading videos to all of you now. The multi-threading comes into picture because of the thread support. Every component is responsible for everything. These are all the libraries. What are all? Libraries. This class loader is responsible for loading the required classes in execution now. You are consuming a library now, a class, program class, console class you are consuming, or array class you are consuming. The code of the array class should be loaded for you now. Who will load? Class loader. And here we have a component. What is that? Exception manager. What is the exception manager? Exception manager is basically responsible for the exceptions, basically. It is responsible for the exceptions. What is the component? Exception manager. Now come back. Read this now. Every program executes inside of the .NET runtime under the monitoring of CLR, because we have already learned that CLR is the execution engine of .NET's runtime. So whenever there is a runtime error in the code, exception manager which is present in the CLR will identify the error. What exception manager will do? Identify the error that got occurred. Fix the exception class which is related with that error. Fix the exception class. Where it is? It is in the libraries. See, you are trying to perform you got an overflow, guys. It's an overflow. So now exception manager identifies the error. Okay, it's an overflow. Now what is the class related to it? Overflow exception. Exception manager will pick that class now. Okay? After picking the class which is related to the, and gets with error that got occurred from the predefined libraries, the next step creates instance of that class and throws it. Okay. First, did you understand who is creating the instance now? I'm talking with you only. Respond. Did you understand who is creating the instance? Who is creating the instance? Read it. Read it. Read it properly. Who is creating the instance? Exception manager. Perfect. Who is creating the instance? Exception manager. And after creating the instance, what it will do, you know? It will throw that instance. It will throw the instance. What is it? Guys, listen. I have a glass window before me. I have a glass window before me. And there is a cricket ball in my hand. There is a glass window before me and there is a cricket ball in my hand. Are you clearer or not? I am throwing this ball with full full force on the glass window. I am throwing this ball with the full force on the glass window. What will happen? Once the ball goes and hits the glass will take now destruction, right? What I'm doing, I'm throwing it. Same way, exception manager throws the instance of the exception class. Just like I'm throwing the cricket ball, the exception manager is throwing what? Instance of an exception class. When the ball hits the door, what it will do? Destruction, huh? Same way, the exception instance thrown by the exception manager will do the same thing, only destruction. What is that? Abnormal termination. What it will do? Abnormal termination, and displays the message to you. Read the continuation. So that instance of exception class which is thrown by exception manager will perform abnormal termination of the program and displays the error message to end user. Now read the statement completely from top to bottom. Who creates the instance of the exception class? Read it and tell me if you have any doubts on it. Come on. Point by point, carefully observe who is doing, what is doing and all. Read it. Sorry. Point is, you don't do anything here. You run a program. Your program executes under CLR. Your program executes in the runtime. Your program executes under runtime under the monitoring of the CLR. So inside the CLR, exception manager is there. Exception manager is checking. Now it finds a runtime error. When it finds a runtime error, exception manager will find out what error is it. When it finds what error it is, it will pick the class, creates the instance of the class, throws it. Once that instance is thrown, automatically abnormal termination will occur and error message will be displayed. Is everyone clear?
మంత్రి గారు స్పష్టంగా సమాధానం ఇచ్చినందుకు వారికి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. వైఎస్ జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి గారు
Any doubts to anyone how exceptions are occurring? Any doubts to anyone how exceptions are occurring?
చూస్తా ఉన్నాం అధ్యక్ష. అలాగే అధ్యక్ష ఈరోజు నామినేటెడ్
I explained you point to point each and everything to you how the things will happen for you implicitly. I explained you each and everything point to point how the things will happen implicitly. Okay, now what next? What next is when exceptions are occurring, what is happening? Forgot already? What happens when exception occurs? Abnormal termination. What happens? Are you okay with the abnormal termination? Are you okay with the abnormal termination? No, not at all. Abnormal termination should be controlled. So if you want to control this abnormal termination, we have a concept called as exception handling. If you wanted to control the abnormal termination, we have a concept called exception handling. There is a concept called exception handling. What is exception handling? Exception handling is a process of stopping the abnormal termination of a program whenever there is a runtime error in the application. Are you clear? Exception handling is a process of stopping the abnormal termination of a program whenever there is a runtime error in the application. Read. Don't read. Exception handling. This is a process of stopping the abnormal termination of a program whenever runtime error occurs in the program. Because runtime errors will perform abnormal termination. Runtime errors will perform abnormal termination. So I'm stopping it now. Okay? Now, what is the advantage? What is the advantage of stopping the abnormal termination? What is the advantage of stopping the abnormal termination? Are you clear? What is the advantage of stopping the abnormal termination? See, listen. You have a car. You can travel long distance on a car. Suddenly, if any of your tire got punctured, tell me, suddenly if any of your tire got punctured, is it going to be a problem or not? So to resolve it, every car is provided with a Stephanie. Okay, you have a Stephanie. In India, guys, in Indian cars, you see, if your wheel size is 16 inches, your Stephanie also will be having the same size. But if you see imported cars like BMW, Volvo, these cars, guys, the Stephanie will not be of the same size like a normal. Stephanie will be just only for emergency purpose they use. That will be a small tire. You can fix the Stephanie and you can drive the car. But that tire will not be as big as the size of your regular size. So use a Stephanie, go to the nearest station and get the punctured and replace it. So that is only used for emergency. Are you clearer or not? Understood my point? Okay. So why I'm telling you this is, see now, you have an abnormal termination program now. So exception handling will stop the abnormal termination. Advantages, what is the advantage? The advantage is, by stopping abnormal termination, you can execute the rest of the code. You can execute the rest of the code. Normally now, you got an error on line number 10. Abnormal termination is occurring. Without abnormal termination happening there, the rest of the code, see, you are just a car punctured after traveling 10 kilometers. You require to travel 500 kilometers. After 10 kilometers, your tire got punctured. So will you stop the journey there now? So use the Stephanie now. Continue the process. If Stephanie is not there, the journey stops there. If Stephanie is available, you can replace it and you can continue. This is also same now. I'll stop the abnormal termination so that the rest of the statements which are not related with the error can continue the execution now. First advantage. Second advantage. Right now, are we getting exception error messages? For every exception, error messages are coming now. The error messages what are coming now are designed targeting a developer. The error messages what are coming now are designed targeting a developer. They are designed targeting a developer. What is the targeting a developer? Yes, guys. All these error messages what you are using here will be basically targeting the developer actually. Because these messages are targeting the developer. Listen. Because these messages are targeting the developer. Okay. Because these messages are targeting the developer. What happens? Because these messages are targeting the developer can understand them, but end user cannot understand. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. What will the end user understand about that now? What is object? What is reference? You don't know anything at all. Okay? So by handling these exceptions, we can hide the predefined messages. And display user-friendly messages to end users. You can display what? User-friendly messages to the end user. Okay? See, in the previous, for integer, if I give a wrong value, what is it telling you? Input string was not in a correct format. Without that, if I show the message as, please enter an integer value, that will be descriptive. Correct? Yes or not? That is the second thing you can do. You can hide the original messages and you can display user-friendly messages. Third advantage. What is the third advantage? You can perform some corrective actions. You can perform some corrective actions to fix the problems that are going to come. You can perform some corrective actions to fix the problems that are going to come due to the error. For example, I said you one funds transfer example in the morning now. You're transferring 50,000 rupees from your account over your friend's account. Deducted from your account, but before adding to the destination abnormal termination occur, you lost your 50,000, right? Yes or not? By handling the exception, what I can do now, I can roll back the transaction so the 50,000 gets added back to my account again. Are you clear? You're not able to deposit to the target. If you're not able to deposit to the target, what you need to do? You need to send it back to my account now. That's called as corrective action. Clear? These are the three benefits what you get by handling an exception. All of you can read this. What is the advantage of handling exception? By handling an exception, we have the following advantages. Read everyone. First advantage. Statements that are not related with the error can still be executed. See, there are 100 people in a classroom. One student is misbehaving in the class. One student is misbehaving in the class and is watching the mobile in the classroom. Okay? And the teacher is angry and left the class. The teacher is angry and left the class. And remember now, because of that one student, remaining 99 students are getting suffered here. Is it the correct thing? What is the correct thing? Send the student out who is misbehaving. Correct? So the remaining 99 are not going to be affected. The first one is the same thing only, abnormal termination will stop. So that statement that are not related with error will still execute. Not related with error will execute now. Who will not execute? Related with error will not execute. Which are not related with error will continue the execution. Understood everyone? Second. Read it. They are designed targeting who? Developers. Third one. We can perform corrective actions if required, not compulsory, to fix problems that are going to come due to the runtime error. Are you clear? Okay? So what? That's what. So your tire got punctured, guys. Your tire got punctured. You found a nail. You found a nail on the road, and because of that your tire got punctured. You pulled the nail out. After pulling the nail out, are you going to put it on the road again so that the other people are going to be damaged by it? You simply take it and throw it out outside. Throw it out in the roadside and just to remove it so that the other people are not going to be affected by that. Correct? So here also, we can do some corrective actions to fix problems that are going to come due to the runtime errors. Like I given you an example. What is that? Roll back the transaction. If you are not able to deposit, roll back. These are the three benefits you get by handling an exception. Everything clear? Now, next question. How to handle an exception, sir? How to handle an exception? You're saying exception handling will give me all the benefits. Okay, let me handle the exception. How? If you want to handle an exception, if you wanted to handle an exception, you need to enclose your code. You need to enclose your code under two special blocks called as try-catch blocks. You're required to enclose your code under two special blocks called as try-catch blocks. Are you getting me? Read. How to handle an exception? To handle exceptions, we need to enclose the code under two special blocks known as try and catch blocks, which should be used as following. How do you write? See, try. Open the curly braces. What you should write inside of it? All the statements which are going to cause the runtime error should be put inside of it. Okay, next. All the statements which doesn't require execution when the runtime error occurs should be put inside of it. Afterwards, what we have? Catch. And in the catch, what are you writing? Exception, class name. Which exception you wanted to catch? A variable. Then, statements which require to be executed only when the runtime error occurs should be put there. Finally, multiple catch blocks. I'll show you practically to make you understand. Look at this, all of you. Look at this. I'm writing a very simple program in the code now. Yesterday, okay, I'm running a simple program. Look at this, all of you. What I'm doing, see? I'm taking two inputs from the user, dividing the two numbers, printing you the result. That's all. Simple code. Run. Hundred. 5. Result is 20. Everything is perfect, no issues at all. But see guys, I'm giving 100, I'm giving 0. Error. What is error? Okay, not only that one says, multiple errors will come. 100, why? Error. Format exception. 100. Overflow exception. You right now saw 3 exceptions occurred in this code now. Very simple code, very simple program written for adding 2, dividing 2 numbers. But in this program, 3 exceptions occurred now. So shall we control them now? Shall we control this? Okay. Now, to understand this, I'm adding another class in the project. We'll name it as try catch demo. Concentrate all of you. Try catch demo. I am copying the code that is present inside the main method here. This main method I'm copying. I'm pasting it as it is here. So this code already has errors, we noticed it. I want to control them. If you want to control, you are required to write try and catch. You are required to write what? Try and catch. Okay? First point you need to. What statement should be in the try? What statement should be in the try? So all of you, listen. What statement should be in the try? Statements which are going to cause the error should be in the try now. Are you clear? Look. Try. Catch. What should be in the try? Statements which are going to cause the error should be in the try now. Okay? Now tell me. Is the first statement going to cause any error? Tell me, is the first statement going to cause any error? No. Is the second statement going to cause any error? Yes. Format exception, overflow exception will come now. Format exception can come, overflow exception also can come. So let me put this under that right. Will this cause any error? No. Will this cause any error? No. Will this cause any error? Yes. This will cause an error. So I am going to put this also in try. Will this cause any error? Yes. Divide by 0. Okay. I'll put this one also in try. Okay. Will this cause any error? No. Will this cause any error? No. So now what statements are present in the try block C? Statements which are causing the error are put in the try block. Okay. Next. What next? Statements which doesn't require execution when the runtime error got occurred. Statements which doesn't require execution when the runtime error got occurred. It should also come into try only now. For example, you got an error on this line. You got an error on this line. If you got an error on this line, do you want the next line to execute now? First number is wrong here. Do I need to ask for second number now? No need. So then you understand? This statement also should be in the try only. That statement also should be in the try only. Are you clear? Okay? Now, you got an error on this line. Sorry. You got an error on this line. When you got an error on this line, do you want this line to execute? No. And when I could not divide, how can it display result now? Yes or not? So, this line, you take it, this line. Also should be in the try only. Okay, still what is left out? This two. Okay, what about this one? This doesn't cause any error. And this is the first statement not related to error also. So should it be in the try block? No need. Should it be in the try block? No need. But because all these are related to each other, if you put this in the try, there is no issue also. Because all these are related with the error, if you put this in the try, there is no issue also. Okay? What about this statement? Array, this statement will not cause error. This statement is not related with the error code. No, it is independent of itself. Are you following me? It is independent of itself. So this should not be inside a try or should not be inside the catch also. So till now, I added the statements to you into try. Watch it guys. What did I put in the try? Statements which are going to cause the error. Statements which doesn't require execution when the error occurred. Both these are in the try. What next? Catch. The next thing is catch. Catch what? I wanted to handle which one? Divide by 0 exception. Space. What next? A variable. EX. Variable EX. What should I write inside of it? And when the error occurred, you want to execute some statements now. What statements? Displaying an error message or performing a rollback or something. When error occurred, only this code should execute now. Are you following me? When error occurred, only this code should be executed. What? I want to write the code to display the error message. I want to write the code by displaying the error message. When you want to write the code by displaying the error message, you have two options here. What are the two options? You can display predefined error message or you can display user-friendly error message also. Option 1, predefined error message. How? Already said now, there is a property called message. You can call the message property that will display the predefined error message now. No user-friendly message. How to do that, I'll tell you. Guys, this is the code here. Now your code is inside the try catch. Watch it. Did you understand, all of you?
చూసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళామనుకోండి, ఇక్కడ కన్నానూర్
Look at this code.
కన్నానూర్
Is that clear?
కన్నానూర్ అని చెప్పేసి నెక్స్ట్ కోచి కోచి అని చెప్పేసి అంటాం. నెక్స్ట్ కాలికట్. ఈ మూడు కూడా కేరళలో ఉన్నాయి. ఈ మూడు కేరళ. సో పోర్చుగీస్ యొక్క స్థావరాలు కన్నానూర్, కోచి, కాలికట్. ఇక వస్తే గోవా. గోవా
Now run the code.
ఇక నెక్స్ట్ వస్తే
Now run the code.
మహారాష్ట్రలో సాల్సెట్టి అండ్ బస్సైన్ అని చెప్పేసి అంటారు.
100.
సాల్సెట్టి అండ్ బస్సైన్.
5. Any error?
మహారాష్ట్రలో ఉన్నటువంటి
No, no. So it will print you the result. It will print you end of the program. It will print you a result. It will print you end of the program. Clear? Now see. Any error?
మహారాష్ట్రలో సాల్సెట్టి అండ్ బస్సైన్.
Now it won't print you result. It will print you the error message and end of the program. See, abnormal determination did not occur. What is the proof? The proof is end of the program statement printed. If abnormal termination is present, end of the program statement won't be printed. Printed or not? Printed means what is the meaning? Abnormal termination did not occur. Exceptions are handled. Abnormal termination did not occur. In the place of the result, it was showing the error message. Attempted to divide by 0. I want to highlight that message. I want to highlight the error messages to tell this is an error message. Yeah, you can do how console dot foreground color is equals to console color dot red. You already learned that one enum. Okay, and after displaying the message, again I am setting it to white. So error messages are displayed in red color now. Okay, same way I want to display the results in green color. I want to display the results in green color. I'm just highlighting you to tell this is the result, this is error message and all. Watch. You got the results now. Green color means the result came now. Okay? And white is mandatory statements. End of the program, these are all mandatory statements now. Mandatory statements are getting executed. Okay, next, run it again. Now let's cause an error. Let's create an error. Now green did not come, red came. Means that is a error. What is error? Attempted to divide by 0. So it's showing a predefined error message or user-friendly error message? Predefined error message or user-friendly message? Predefined, yeah. Showing a predefined. Where is user-friendly? I did not give user-friendly. I returned the